I'm going to invite the first team that I'll invite up is our gaming team. So that is Mikael, Lorenzo, Harrison, Dante, Ulysses. Come on up. This particular team has been exploring innovative ways to use gaming and virtual reality, and have set up a lab over at the Duderstadt. We have a little corner. Thank you, Duderstadt, for giving us that space to be able to launch our research and begin these discussions. As Eric indicated, this is an area that is ripe for research. And so what these young students are launching and what they've initiated is really powerful, even to myself as their lead. I'm really impressed by the work that they're doing and what they've undertaken. So, gentlemen.
All right, good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a good day. So we just wanted to introduce ourselves. We are the esports team. My name's Lorenzo, and to the right of me, I have Ulysses, Diego, Harrison, Mikhail, and Dante. Amir couldn't come here today because he has some other things, but he's also part of the esports team as well. So as for what we're doing right now, the esports team has set up a lab over at the Duderstadt Center, both for Minecraft and VR. And what we plan to do is get participants to do a pre-lab survey to help us identify whether they're like neurotypical, neurodivergent, which will help us assign themselves into groups into our labs where they can play Minecraft or VR. And after every session every week, we will give them a survey, ask for like feedback and reflection as to like, hey, how did the gaming feel? How did the VR feel? How did the other participants feel? And so for this presentation, we just wanted to what is the word for it? We just wanted to just share our posters that we made for today for you guys, and just like what we've been doing so far. If we could probably just skip to the posters, if that's okay. All right, so for Amir and I, we are trying to study how esports and video games, specifically collaborative video games, can help proliferate neurodivergent and neurotypical interrelationships. And so we are going to use the lab based on the methods that we have, but currently, we are just starting to get participants. So in the meantime, we did a couple literature reviews on just like figure out what kinds of data has been out for these past studies. And we wanted to highlight two of these studies. The graph that you see up here at the top talks about how what's the word for it? So this is Gillespie's study, if that's correct. Yep. In Gillespie's 2018 study, they measured how many words are being spoken through conversational, they were observing words in a conversation while they were playing video games. And in most of these sessions, about 80% of it is around like mixed and consistent, which is a good thing for us, considering it shows how like video games are able to allow multiple people in a video gaming session to cooperate and just have meaningful conversations. And then in the bottom half of the poster, you will see a table, which is another study from Stone et al. In 2019, where they were having a longitudinal study of observing participants, mainly children, in a what's the word for it? Minecraft server full of children that are on the autism spectrum disorder, and they've noticed that most of the things that they observed is some of it has cooperation, but also at the same time there also can be some conflicts due to like differences in what they wanted to do, differences in goals and whatnot. But overall, this is very helpful for us because It'll help us. What's the word for it? This will help us, build on to what we wanted to do in our studies and just help us reflect on what results we can expect. So we can move on to the next poster. And Diego? Yes.
Hello, I'm Diego, and I'm working with Dante and Harrison in this project of how have neurotypical individuals and neurotypical neurodivergent individuals interactions been, how have neurodivergent and neurotypical interactions and how is it different in a video game environment? Well, the just topic of neurodiversity has been a topic of research for about the past decade. Same like with the interactions between neurodivergent and neurotypicals, it has been prominent in a lot of the research, but there is a lack of research when it comes to a video game environment. So we see a lot of it in the workplace environment, a school environment, in a more social general environment. What we see in video game environment more of just neurodivergent individuals and neurotypical individuals, like interactions between themselves but not within each other. So that's what my study aims to kind of find. And with the lab space we have in Deuterstat, our intention is to obviously pair up neurodivergent and neurotypical individuals with Minecraft. And the reason we chose Minecraft is for capabilities of just the game itself. Its mechanisms can be changed in terms of like lighting or sound to really accommodate for the sensory overload issues that a lot of neurodivergent individuals have. And so the way that it would work, they would be playing for around like 1 to 2 hours in each session. And after a couple of sessions, they would fill out a form to overall just really say if they had a positive or negative experience with their just playing with a different set of individuals. And in the graph shown here, the number of peer-reviewed articles that appear when searching up neurodivergent gaming. As you can see, it's just the topic of neurodivergent gaming has been more popular recently. So there hasn't really been a lot of research in the last couple of years. It's only been recent since it really became a topic of research. And this really just goes to show how important it is for more research to come up about neurodivergent and gaming and how it's really important not only to the neurodivergent people but also to us, because neurodiversity is something that's affected by everyone and really can just help in a lot of people's situations. And I'll pass it to Mikael after this.
We can go to the next poster. So me and my partner in crime, Ulysses, we're looking at the impact of immersive gaming on neurodivergent people or even people without any, just neurotypical people. Really, we just wanted to find a space to understand, why do people really like these games? Why do they like these spaces? Why isn't it escape? So we first went off into the world ourselves. We found games that we liked on VR. We played. We went on Minecraft. We played around, and we had a little bit of an understanding before we went into our literature review. So we looked at Bruce Maxim's, and he went over how to. Sorry. It's been a long week, I'm sorry. He went over how to have people learn through video games, how to teach how to code, how to go through it. And as we went through, we really did not find anything about VR and how people just really enjoy these spaces for an escape. Weirdly, the only research that I found is how people with ADHD and neurodivergence, or even just general issues with learning correlated with people's time on VR. And that's not fair to anyone that plays VR. That's not fair to anyone that plays Minecraft. They do this for an escape. So what me and Ulysses are doing is we're having anyone email us We give them the survey to just pick out a time that they want to come up and play a game. They play the game for 15, 30 minutes, and we give them a survey. And they'll fill out the survey, and as we look through their responses, we're going to figure out if we really need an immersive space on UMich and if we should really push for an immersive space on UMich. And I know that the Duderstadt, their basement, doesn't have really anything right now. So if there is a push, we could definitely try to get a huge gaming cafe even down in that basement. And that may be our final goal, is to push for a gaming space on UMich for people to have a space to get away from student life, because we all know how stressful it is to be a student on UMich. Thank you.
Any good? Oh, here we go. I'll start here.
Thank you all so much. Just as a recommendation, when you get your research, maybe sending it out to, I'm going to say Ann Arbor Public Schools because that's where I'm a parent, and sending out that information, because I think a lot of times parents don't get this information of why it's important and how it can be beneficial for their children. We get fed a lot of the, I will say, opposite information, and I'm not saying that the opposite can't also be beneficial, but it is really helpful to know how we can support our children and the benefits of that. And then for my own child, what is there an age? Is this 18 and up in the research, or are children in the community under 18 allowed to participate in any of the research?
So yes, so for the studies that Amir and I were observing, it was around like from late childhood to early teens, so it's around like 9 to 13.
Okay, so if I bother you, maybe you could give me your information.
Oh yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
thank you.
You let me know.
I'd like to also answer that. With the immersive gaming, we don't care who takes it. Like, to put it blunt, we want everyone. You can't claim neurodiversity if you don't include everyone, right? So we don't really care who takes it. We want everyone. So, yeah.
I have a question from online. Are the gaming folks partnering with the gaming library on campus that's managed by Dave Carter?
Oh man, I really hope so, because not yet, obviously, but if Dave Carter would want to reach us, please do. I know Shapiro has a lot of games. I haven't been there yet, but I do want to go, because it just reminds me of like how the university and Ann Arbor itself has a really huge gaming community, and it's for me personally, it's such a shame that we don't even have our own like esports lab when colleges around us, like Oakland and Wayne State, have their own esports lab. And I know, like, from my personal experience, we have this, what is this called? A gaming competition known as the Big House, which used to be a really big event yearly for Super Smash Brothers gaming. And it would consider itself as a super major, which is like, I don't know if you guys know sports, but it's like one of the biggest majors to compare it to, like, you know, the US Open in tennis, or let's say, I don't know. Yeah, that one, then golf as well. So if Dave Carter would love to reach us, please contact Sandy, contact Kathy, or just let us know. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Martha, and don't wait for Dave Carter to get you. I know him. He's student-centered. I refer students that I work with to the video game archive. So you get a hold of him. He'd love to hear what you have to say. And since you want to sign up students to come and do your half hour or whatever and take your survey, where do I get the little link, or a flyer or something about it because I'd share it with the students that I work with.
So, I haven't made a flyer quite yet. If any of you want my email, it's just simple MRSH. That's my unique name. So, just email that. I just haven't gotten around to the flyer. I've had midterms and posters to make. So, just MRSH at UMich.
Hello. So I love that your guys are trying to be very inclusive and everything, and I love this idea. But I am seeing a lot of masculine presence and a lot of white presence as well. How are you guys going to work to encourage people of all genders and collective groups to take this study? And I know that's difficult because we all know the problems in the general gaming community, even though that is improving, but also as a femme person in the gaming community, I know there's a lot of work to be done. So I am curious how you guys are handling that aspect.
So in the immersive survey, that's actually included within our survey. We want to see and gauge how we can get everyone into the gaming space. We want to see, well, are there any challenges? What challenges will be brought upon? The first person who actually took this survey was my girlfriend. We had her do a test run. She's been helping me with everything this whole year, so I guess she could be considered a part of the immersive gaming team. But we are trying to get everyone, and I do definitely understand that you're worried about the definite male presence on the team. It's very unfortunate that the people that we've reached out to, they've either been men that wanted to do it, or just no one's reached out just quite yet. So we're really early. So we don't really know who's going to reach out. It could definitely be all female group if they wanted to come and play. So it's early right now, and we can't really gauge who's going to come out and enjoy our little study.
Okay, we have to cut them off because we have many more students, so sorry. They do have posters around. Please see them. They'll be more than happy to give you the information in order to get in touch with them. Okay, thank you.
All right, hello, can you hear me? Okay, just in case you wonder who's speaking to you, my name is Devin Yohannes. I use he, him pronouns. I work at the University of Michigan Dearborn Office of Academic Affairs. I also serve as a research affiliate and project lead for the University of Michigan's Marsall School of Education's Diversity Research and Policy Program. So thank you again to our wonderful team from Innovation and Tech. Next, we'd like to encourage our team from the Sports, Mindfulness, Yoga, and Mental Health Project to come up on the stage. This is a team of 3 students who have been exploring physical activity and mental health for neurodivergent community members. The team has had the fortunate opportunity to connect with the adaptive sports team, one of the representatives of which you heard speak earlier. And yeah, so if you'd like to come on up, we'll go ahead and have some time to talk, okay?
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Eleanor May. I am a freshman student studying psychology and crime and justice in the School of Allison. We are the sports and mindfulness team. This is Jaden and Amy. I know we have a longer name, but sports and mindfulness is a little easier for everybody. My specific poster talks about, if we can get to that slide, talks about the correlation between ADHD and sports as a therapeutic treatment, so it does work very well with the adaptiveness that was talked about earlier. One thing that we have to know about ADHD before we can really get into it is that there are many misconceptions about ADHD. The first one really being that it was diagnosed a lot more in boys than in girls. This is completely untrue. It is not a very biased disease. It's just that it was diagnosed more because people noticed it more in boys. People also have a tendency to believe that ADHD is just inattention or the inability to sit still. This is also completely untrue. ADHD is a lot more complicated than this. It requires more complicated treatments. And it's also being seen a lot more in adults now as we learn more about it. ADHD has an issue where it is diagnosed more in children, with about 11.4% diagnosis in children compared to an only 6% diagnosis in adults. With this large difference, we see that a lot of treatments are targeted towards children, along with a lot of research being targeted towards children. That means that all of the treatment options we have might be more medication-based, might be more preventative for later in life, versus when you have an adult who already has learned habits and needs stuff that they can integrate into a life with a job, a family, habits that they already have in their daily life. My goal was to find another treatment that adults can use so that they don't have to rely on medication or therapy, since many people don't want to be medication reliant and they don't want to have to go to a therapist every week. A lot of people don't like therapy, even if they do have ADHD, so I wanted to find something that worked for a middle ground. ADHD is what I researched to see if people who played a sport consistently or even just exercised consistently would help mitigate some of their ADHD symptoms. And I found that playing a sport or exercising did actually help quite a bit for many people. This is because when you play a sport or exercise, it releases endorphins and dopamine. And when you do this on a scheduled basis, it can really help people with ADHD who regularly have routine problems, as some of you might know. So on this scheduled basis, they could have mitigated symptoms every week, and it gave them also something to look forward to each week. It was a motivation source, which a lot of people have struggled with, since an ADHD symptom is struggling to start projects or stop something that they're enjoying doing, hyperfocus. And we found that playing sports worked for a lot of people with ADHD, but not everybody, since not everybody could stick to such a consistent routine. Just like medications have to be differed for different people, and not everybody likes the same therapists, not everybody likes the same treatment options. Some people found that playing chess even worked similarly to playing a sport, but they enjoyed it a lot more without the physical activity. It still engaged their brain in the same way, while other people found that jogging every week was perfect for them. This severe lack of research is something that still has a lot of work to be done, but we're increasing the research we do with adults with ADHD, and we're making a lot of more affordable treatment options so that you don't have to go to a therapist every week if it doesn't fit into your schedule. And with, Medicare and Medicaid issues, a lot of people can't afford their medications, and ADHD is becoming a lot more treatable for people who have issues. I would like to introduce Jaden and his project.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Jaden Mentz. I did research on dyspraxia. I conducted a literature review surrounding dyspraxia, also known as developmental coordination disorder. With dyspraxia, a simple task like tying shoes or writing can become difficult. So it's easy to understand. How this can become a barrier to exercise. Oh, was I holding the button? However, bridging that gap is important due to the many benefits that are actually associated with exercise and dyspraxia. I found 7 interventions that address the gap, extremely diverse interventions from VR integrated exercise games to karate. Each with a diverse amount of benefits, some reducing symptoms, including an increase in strength, motor skills, and an increase in social skills and development. Social skills, specifically collaborative skills, are an important benefit of this group, as those with dyspraxia and neurodivergent people in general are at extreme risk of social withdrawal. Some of the things I didn't see addressed, however, were adult research, as she mentioned. In general, neurodivergent communities, there's just not a lot of adult research for some reason. It's mainly with children and mainly preventative. All but one of these studies I found focused on children. It's also important to see longevity in this research. Most of the research I found was very short-term and very underfunded in a way. For future studies, I think it's necessary to actually measure, like I would like to conduct a research measuring what's keeping people out of exercising. What's the gap, like of going to the gym, for example, specifically asking why, what prevents them. So all of this is to say that there's a positive connection between dyspraxia and sports, and it takes accommodations to achieve. With the University of Michigan to open a new gym on Central Campus, I think it's important that exercise accommodations are present to promote neurodiversity and break down said barriers. Whether large scale, like neurodivergent programs like the ones I found in my interventions, so karate or neurodivergent group exercise programs, or adaptive sports exercise equipment, or even small scale, like simple things like dyslexic friendly font or color coding. All of these can have massive help for getting people to engage in physical activity, promoting healthy, happy students. And with that, Amy.
So my project was on the impact of yoga and mindfulness on the mental health of people who are neurodivergent. And what I was doing is I was conducting a literature review, and I was really evaluating the effectiveness as well as applicability of yoga and mindfulness as a form of treatment to help break down barriers to well-being for people who are neurodivergent. And basically, overall, what I found was that yoga and mindfulness were really helpful in enhancing emotional as well as behavioral regulation for not just children, but adults as well. And what that really means is being able to really, especially in moments where emotions are really intense, to be able to really ground themselves and wind down and regain that sense of control. And another thing that I found that was really important was being able to recognize the individual's unique needs and to really consider that in the treatment plans, because that allowed for the practice of skills outside of just clinical settings, so really in the person's daily life and really helping with that. And another thing was that yoga and mindfulness really helped with developing social skills in children, but also helped with decreasing things like social withdrawal and irritability in adults, and also really increased social flexibility. And what makes this all really important is that not everyone wants to seek medical treatment for anything that's like preventing them from really having good well-being. And so having like really easily accessible and practical skills that they can develop to help treat any of like their symptoms, and that is just overall really important, especially nowadays. And yeah, in conclusion, overall, yoga and mindfulness were really, really helpful for these people, and not just helpful to their mental health, but also really helpful in, again, really regaining that sense of like control, developing that sense of control through the ability to really self-regulate. And although like all this research is relatively new, there's definitely ways that it can be improved, like definitely focusing on all different kinds of neurodivergence, not just autism, focusing on older age groups too, not just children. And yeah, those are really ways that we can really improve the research and help a lot of different people. And yeah, thank you everyone. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask us later on.
Are there any burning questions? We have to kind of move, but any burning questions? We have time for like one question. If not, they will be at their posters a little later on. So, okay.
All right, thank you again to our sports, mindfulness, yoga, and mental health team. Last but certainly not least, we have our arts, music, and theater team that's going to be coming up. This is a team of 3 students who have been working diligently to explore the attraction of art, music, and theater for neurodivergent communities. We are working on currently finding an academic partner for the team to be able to work with and exploring the opportunity to bring a musical experience on neurodiversity to the University of Michigan. If you'd like to come up now.
This one?
Okay, got it. Yes, okay, good.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. We are the last UROP student presenters, and today we're here to talk to you guys about the research we've been doing about how arts-based therapies can be used to help the neurodivergent community here on campus.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I'd like to give a shout out to Sandy and Kathleen and introduce our team. So my name is Yasmin. I'm a second year here studying psychology and environment. And I really wanted to work on this project because I work closely with a lot of neurodivergent individuals at my summer job. And when I was getting to know them, I realized a lot of them had struggled finding a place in higher education. So I wanted to be part of something to improve access to education for everyone.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm a sophomore and I'm a BCN major. I wanted to be a part of this team because I myself have used art as a way to cope with my ADHD, and for a long time not really knowing that I was using art in that way. But I realized the benefits and wanted to bring that to other people as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zach. I am a second year at U of M studying neuroscience, and my interest in this project came from the fact that I'm also a music minor, and I play clarinet. And so music is a pretty big part of my life still, and I'm really, really interested in observing and researching the transformative and positive impacts that music can have as a coping mechanism for neurodivergent individuals, but also for neurotypical individuals, for individuals with neurodegenerative disorders, the whole kind of shebang. So it's really, really interesting to me. And yeah.
So just to give a little bit of background information, neurodivergent students often face barriers in college settings. So whether that be a lack of access to adequate supportive devices or resources, difficulty receiving accommodations, or forming social connections. So going off of this, students with autism were found to have below average graduation rates. So the Neurodiversity Project at the University of Michigan was formed to find innovative ways to combat this problem. So the 2 teams that work on this project are the Survey and Policy team and the Innovation and Technology team. So the Survey and Policy team, which many of you have heard from yesterday, works to assess the needs of the current resources in place. These responses are used to inform policy so that they can become more beneficial to students. And the Innovation and Technology team works to use various therapeutics devices to support these individuals on campus. So our group, the Arts and Music team, researches the use of arts-based therapies and their effectiveness on people who identify as neurodivergent. So during our first semester on this project, we conducted a literature review in which we found that music therapy has been proven to be incredibly effective for improving social behavior, such as eye contact and attention, as well as helping with sensory and communication issues. And we found, like the other group, that a lot of research on this focuses on children rather than adults. So we wanted to see if these types of resources would be beneficial to our peers. So during our second semester, we began planning a way to assess if music therapy would be helpful for neurodivergent students on college campuses. So last Monday on Neurodiversity Day, we held active music therapy sessions for neurodivergent and neurotypical students on campus. We had a professional music therapist perform these sessions, and we recorded using a survey the participants' thoughts and feelings before and after the intervention, and we will talk more about this later.
Okay, so to establish like a clear definition of what music therapy is, it can be defined as the use of music intervention to accomplish individualized goals, which in our case is alleviating anxiety, within a therapeutic relationship with a credentialed professional. Music-based interventions employ the usage of patient-based modalities, which invites participants to gravitate towards the method that most appeals to them. There are many benefits that can come as a result of music therapy interventions, many of which promote self-expression and social interaction. The process of making art, or music itself, provides individuals with a medium through which they can express their emotions, feelings, wants, and needs, especially when they are unable to be verbally articulated. This is especially important for neurodivergent individuals who experience their emotions differently and as a result are unable to identify and express these emotions in a way that is comprehensible to the neurotypical population. The late autistic artist and writer, Donna Richardson, describes how the usage of art provided her a way to express her previously unidentifiable feelings by stating, "My mind is like a mosaic. My conscious thoughts are intangible until after they've been expressed, usually through the arts." Because music stimulates many of the areas of the brain that are involved in emotional regulation, such as the limbic system, it has the effect of diverting the individual's attention away from the stressful stimuli, thus promoting relaxation and an improved mental state. This is especially important to college students who are prone to experiencing environmental stressors as a function of academic and social pressures. For the methods that we employed throughout the actual music therapy intervention, there were 3 main stations: listening, improvisation/performance, and music composition. So in music listening, it is a lyrical analysis of a popular song, and it is broken down to its emotional meaning. This encourages participants to become aware of their own emotions and reflect on past memories and address their current struggles they may be facing. The improvisation and performance aspect of the therapy intervention invites participants to choose from a selection of instruments as provided by the music therapist. It's involving a free-flowing and more flexible musical interaction with the therapist, and it allows participants to fully express their anxiety or fear of stressors in the form of music in a supportive environment. And lastly, the composition section is guided by the music therapist. The participant learns how to play a song that already exists, either with the provided instruments or through the app GarageBand, which is music composition. And then the composition section, it allows participants to express their emotions, control them, and improves their ability to adapt to the environment. The table that we had set up during the musical interventions was divided into these 4 stations. So composition you can see with the computer that has GarageBand opened up, as well as the keyboards. Improvisation had many percussion instruments, and that also kind of doubled as the performance section. And then the listening section had computers pulled up with access to Spotify and headphones, so participants could kind of do that on their own terms. Yes.
Okay, awesome. And finally, so our takeaways from all of this, we have really tangible data that is really helpful and kind of gives us a good insight into the positive impacts that music therapy can have, both on neurodivergent individuals and also neurotypical individuals. As Mikhail said in the last presentation, neurodiversity is all about including everyone. So our research kind of gives us a good glimpse into both neurotypical and neurodivergent populations. So from our 17 people that participated in our music therapy sessions, 8 out of 17 of them identified as neurodivergent. And on average, from the entire group, all 17 participants, stress levels decreased 1.8 points on a 10-point scale after the music therapy intervention. So while we surveyed the individuals, we also surveyed the origination of their stressors. So most people reported their stress originating from schoolwork or exams, but some reported stress from personal or political environments as well. And the average stress level went from 5.4 out of 10 to 3.6 out of 10. So we saw an overall decrease. And we also saw that composition was the preferred method of music therapy. So the mean stress level for the self-labeled neurodivergent individuals was, before the intervention, was 6.125 and then fell to 4.5 after the music therapy intervention, which was a statistically significant difference. versus neurotypical individuals had a mean stress level of 4.7778 before the music therapy intervention, and then after had 2.8889. So also experiencing a statistically significant difference. So you do notice that the increase for the neurotypical individuals is bigger than the decrease for neurotypical individuals is a larger decrease than the decrease for neurodivergent individuals. But both of these decreases are statistically significant, so it's very significant data. We also see that for our neurodivergent population, 5 out of 8 of our neurodivergent participants reported a decrease of 2 points or more, while 2 reported unchanged stress levels and 1 reported an increase in levels, actually. Versus neurotypical individuals, 6 out of 9 reported an increase or a decrease of 2 or more, and then 1 reported an unchanged stress level. So here's just a before and after of the data points that we got of each person indicating their stress level. As you can see, though, in general, the trend shifted downward. And then we also asked our participants whether or not they think this kind of therapy is something that they would find useful, and if it was something that they think should be implemented on U of M's campus. And we got resounding yes. All but one person thinks that music-based or art-based therapies are worthwhile endeavors for the university to pursue. And a great majority said that they would use this resource if it were implemented, with only one person saying no, and the rest saying maybe. So that's good. So our conclusions, we see that there's a clear statistically significant relationship between stress levels and music therapy, that basically both neurodivergent and neurotypical individuals experience a decrease in stress levels from participating in music therapy. However, this research wasn't really able to give us a discernible distinction between whether or not it impacts neurodivergent or neurotypical individuals at a greater rate. However, it shows that this is a very worthwhile method of therapy because everyone experiences stress decreases. We also noticed, if we look back very quickly, the average stress level for the neurodivergent individuals pre-music therapy was higher, versus for neurotypical individuals, it was lower. So this goes to show that it's probable that neurodivergent individuals, especially neurodivergent individuals on a pre-professional track or that are in college, experience more stress than their neurotypical counterparts. And then finally, our preferred interventions seem to be hands-on, performance or composition related, probably because headphones are very accessible. Most people own pairs of headphones and can listen to music with their own cellular devices. And the hands-on component, probably similarly to the gaming team, gives neurodivergent or even neurotypical individuals a space to physically interact with the medium. And finally, regardless of the neurodivergent or neurotypical labeling, participants seemed enthusiastic about the implementation of these interactions. So this is really, really interesting research that kind of gives us a good place to go from here on how we can implement arts-based therapies in neurodivergent and neurotypical settings. And that's all.
Okay, so due to time constraints, and you will have a break so you can talk to them afterwards, but we do have an anecdote from this day that we would like to share with you.
Oh, yes, Kathy.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I was on yet. One of the gentlemen that I work with, I pushed into this room. He was like, no, I'm too busy. I've got, I work as an audio tech. And I just pushed him in there. I said, go in there. Because they needed people. So he went in there, did all this stuff, went back to his desk, sat down, and realized he wasn't as stressed as he was. That he felt much calmer, that it worked, and he was able to continue on his day, and he felt really happy afterwards. So great job, guys.
Awesome. Yay, we're so glad to hear that. Thanks. Last little bit of data analysis. Of our 17 participants, he was the only one that was not in the age 15 to 25 range. We did it by gaps of 5 years. Sorry to out his age, but everyone else was in the college student age range, which was what we were initially trying to assess, but it kind of just goes to show that these therapies are really useful and can be utilized.